I'm Liam, Devon's AI co-host for the Devon Taylor podcast. Have you thought about building a real estate portfolio? Join my community called Sub2, led by Pace Morby. It's changing the game. Instead of using banks or needing perfect credit, they teach you how to buy homes using creative finance, like taking over existing mortgages, negotiating directly with sellers, and finding ways to build wealth without the usual roadblocks. Join by clicking the link below. Now enjoy the episode. Bye now.
Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor, Devon Taylor podcast. Hello all, and welcome back to the Devon Taylor podcast, where the space where we hold space for truth, transformation, and soul healing. Today's guest is someone who has helped people all over the world, from millionaire traders to creatives and everyday seekers, release deep joy, deep emotional wounds, and reconnect with joy. Our next guest is a #1 best-selling author, a trauma healing expert, an international speaker, and recipient of the Humanitarian Award for her work in emotional and ancestral healing. With over 20 years of experience in spiritual practices, she's on a mission to help others free themselves from what no longer serves them, whether that be emotionally, energetically, or generationally. So I'd love to welcome to the show, Edith B. Kiss. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm happy for you to be here as well. And I'd like to just kind of start off. How did you discover that your path was emotional healing?
Wow, it wasn't straightforward, obviously, because as I was healing, I realized that where is the core, like where is the root, and then after also like connecting with other people, helping them to feel better, I realized that the main issue is their PTSD, their all of their mental health issues, physical health issues related to their emotional trauma. So that's how actually it was more tuned towards that.
Was there a moment in your life that opened that door for you? Because I know for me, when I started my journey, it was my partner who introduced the work to me. And the first person that kind of opened my eyes was Teal Swan. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her. She does a lot of emotional healing work and whatnot. So that was my first, I guess, the door that opened it for me. Was there a moment for you?
Yeah, so for me in my 20s, I experienced panic attacks and I didn't want to take medication. So I was looking for some natural remedies. And the best friend of my mom, she actually knew about Reiki. And that's how I started to do Reiki healings, just first getting into like receiving Reiki healing. And then I felt the benefits. So then I also learned how to do it. So that was my beginning, like in 2004. And then later I did some family constellation therapies with the same master. And I realized how powerful that as well about soul healing, right? Soul family healing. And extra senses, I opened up to more possibilities. And then later in 2018 was when I kind of accidentally stumbled upon karma yoga healing, and because they invited me to translate the guru from English to Hungarian. At that time I was living in Hungary, and then I ended up listening to the meditation. I ended up listening to him, and I was like shocked, flabbergasted about the topic, about the sudden changes in me, and I was like, oh my God, I need to learn this, I need to experience this. So I stick with them, I learn more, and that was which led me to the trauma healing eventually.
Beautiful. Many people carry unspoken pain for years. When did you realize that healing those layers could actually lead to some kind of freedom or freedom?
with the family constellation therapies. So when I was doing first the Reiki healing, I still believe that Reiki is more like a quick fix. It's like more like managing your issues, helping you to feel better, temporary, because you going back to your life, you're gonna get triggered again, and your chakra's gonna get blocked again. So you need another Reiki healing. But then with the family constellation therapy was when we really went deep, into ancestral healing and then other family members. And then that's when I realized that, oh my God, this is something bigger out there we need to fix to be able to have a different life, or to feel differently and change things in our life.
Yeah. So when you say ancestral healing, I know a lot of my listeners will ask themselves, well, what is that exactly? I know I have my own definition of ancestral healing, but if you could define for us what that means.
So when people lose their loved ones, and then they died, you think like, oh my God, they are so blessed now. They don't have pain. They are happy now up there, wherever they are. But the thing is that they lose their body, so they don't have physical pain, but they carry everything in their soul from past lives, from this lifetime. All their struggles, all their fights, everything is still there in their souls, in a soul level. And when we do ancestral healing, we actually invite these souls to this healing, to this loving space. And then as we enter the family unconscious, we can actually create a space for them where they can acknowledge each other and forgive to each other for whatever they went through. And the forgiveness is really important, and to get that release, in even if they are in a soul space, like
Wow.
that way.
Beautiful. What would you say are some signs that someone is carrying ancestral trauma without even knowing it?
When you realize that you're going through similar patterns like your parents, you kind of inherited certain illnesses. Like, there's in many families when they say, oh, my family carried diabetes, and then it's like everybody having diabetes, or it's like the cancer, or something, it's in your family line in the DNA, but it's also on soul level. It's something created that, in emotionally, and that was inherited. So that's how you can recognize it as a pattern.
Hmm. Yeah, I have my kids now. They're my nieces and nephews, but I adopted them. And a lot of what I've been trying to do is break the term is generational curses, or I don't know if that's something, but I've tried to find ways to do that, but find myself in situations where patterns may be being repeated, but like through a different um, relative, if that makes any sense. So how in those situations I find it really hard, or not hard, I guess just difficult to navigate, because I'm trying to change with the younger generation what happened, to me and, my siblings. Um, would you say like it's inevitable for them to kind of be around that energy? Is there
No,
anything
no,
that
no. Yes, absolutely. So there is two different ways you can go around this. One is the deep healing, which is basically going deep, and there are certain powerful meditations I learned from my karma guru and I apply with my clients. So you go deeply into the family unconscious, and then you find the roots and you heal those. But there is a much more simple, but still requires a bit of effort, is the discipline, and know, and then recognizing, and then just pause and take a different action. Like, it's also good for karma and for everything, like, because there is always a choice, there is always a choice. And then if you are acknowledging it, if you know it, then you just make a different decision at that point, then you change the whole perspective. And then if there is other people involved, what we can do until the healing is not done, until you can't really affect those family members through healing, then basically you need to set boundaries, or you need to communicate with them that, look, I'm actually dealing with this thing. I want them to feel better, to be healthier. I don't want you to do this and this and this. Communication, basically.
Yeah. I find myself in a lot of those situations where I've communicated a lot, and it's become to start not to create a strain, but when someone's not used to you speaking up in a certain way, it starts to bring out a different I guess side to them. So it's been interesting navigating that with, because my I didn't have the kids before, 3 years before. And so my life was completely different. It was just me. And now having to kind of navigate for others, it's a lot. But what would you say, what happens mentally, emotionally, or physically when someone finally releases those old wounds and they're able to kind of, see a way through?
Oh my God, it feels like you just having a lucky syndrome or something like that. It's just like everything in the flow, and it's just everything falling into places. When people saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna do that when my life is on track," or "I'm gonna do that if I feel safe enough," or whatever. But what if that one step, that healing session, or that effort in your habits, is the one step you're supposed to take, so then your life can go on track or be safe, right? So they expect everything to change first, and they put all the physical effort in it, and then they just still stuck because it's something deeper they need to deal with. And when they do that, then the life is going to be much easier, because what happens is that as soon as you heal the root trauma in the memories, then the triggers will stop, because you already let it go. You close that chapter. You learn the situation, is not going to repeat again. So your triggers stops. It's not just like, because when you don't do the deep healing, let's say, you just become more resilient through awareness or mindfulness. That means like, okay, I know I'm not going to react. I'm going to just respond, but the trigger is going to still hit you. You're still going to have all kinds of situations to navigate. So it's just like, this kind of thing. But then if you do the healing, the deep healing, the trigger is not going to come anymore, like in that particular situation you did the healing on, right? So it's what I experienced in my healing journey is that at the very beginning I had to do it more often, obviously, right? And then it was, no, I'm just doing it very less, like very rarely, when something brand new situation is coming up, or there is still something, old thing which I haven't dealt with, and then no, it's just new stuff. But it's like very rarely now. It's much smoother. I'm saying always, like, you are riding an emotional roller coaster, but as you do the healings, you have a smooth ride. And it's not boring. It's just beautiful. It's just easy. It's just so liberating, as you were saying it, that because what is happening when you are under this pressure, when you are under this stress, anxiety, PTSD, then basically your brain is constantly running. Your brain is constantly feeling overwhelmed, and scared, and fearful and worried. That's what is within you about anything. And then you got betrayed, and you had all kinds of disappointments, and then you stop trusting yourself. You stop trusting others and the universe. So it's like a desperate situation, right? And you're in the rabbit hole. So when you heal, then basically you there is space, like it's empty, and then now it's space, and then in that space you can create whatever you want. It's just like you setting plans, you feel empowered, you see a brighter future, you having fun. That's what is happening after healing.
Mm. And I kind of want you to walk us through what a typical healing process would be, because I know a lot of people may be asking at this point, well, okay, what do I do then? What is the exact like equation? How do I solve this? And for me personally, what I've been going through lately, because a lot of what you're describing, it's so funny, are moments that I've been having to navigate, which, I recently went back to coaching, which is something that I stopped for a long time. And I recently got back into it, and I've been noticing a lot of what I used to go through and would make me uneasy is coming up now with the coaching. And I've had to even navigate with the person I'm coaching with, because we had a disagreement. And as you were saying, your mind's racing and all of these things. I've had those days where my mind was racing. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was running different scenarios through my head, and I finally had to stop myself and say, you know what, I'm just going to allow. I know what my intention is. I know that I'm here for a reason, so I'm going to allow what needs to happen. And I don't know if that was the right way to do it, but after I allowed it, everything kind of flowed. When I went back to practice, I was able to, mend a relationship with one of the players and talk to the coach on a deeper level and have a great practice. But what I'm basically trying to say is, I don't know if that was the answer, but if you could, if there's a method, what would you say is the
So
typical
what
way
you were
that you go
doing,
about
basically what you were doing, you let it go, the control, and you surrendered.
it? Hmm.
So that's an amazing practice if you can do that, because it's not that easy. It's mindfulness basically, because what is mindfulness is controlling the three things you can actually control: is your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions. And anything which is behind that, you cannot control, so you need to let it go. But basically, if you are able to control your thoughts, emotions, and actions, then you're already winning. So when you decided to give up on controlling the situation or controlling the other person, you let it go. Basically, you let go of the attachment of this emotionally, then, and you surrendered to the divine or the energies, then that's when you felt more in peace, basically. So that's
Mm,
one way to go, but it's really, I think that's not the first thing what people do most of the
yeah.
time. So they might go to the gym, or they go for a run, or
Yeah.
they do something which is like they feel like this override can space out. So what I do myself is basically I do the source memory healing, because I know that technique, right? So it's easy for me to turn to that. But I remember situations when I had these kind of issues, I just stepped over it. I had an attitude of like leaving behind, which I couldn't control, or leaving behind, which I couldn't fix, or so that kind of things, situations or relationships or anything. But later, when I got triggered again, and I had to do the healing because now I know how to do it. I went, and then I realized that all of those things I stepped over, they were still there, buried in the unconscious as a trauma, and I had to heal them one after the other, because now is actually the trigger was still hitting.
Mhm.
So what you were doing with the surrendering and letting go, if it's just on a conscious level, as you were dealing with it, is basically it's helping you in that situation, in that moment, but it's not gonna stop the triggers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
How do I
So
stop the trigger?
yeah, so to stop the triggers, you need to find the root. You need to find the root, and then, okay, why I actually felt that way because of that client. So why I felt disappointed, or why I felt angry or sad. And what happening is that when you transcend during a meditation, so there is transcendental meditations. What I use is the samadhi meditation to transcend into theta or delta brain waves. So when you transcend to delta or theta brain waves, you connect with the unconscious mind. So when you connect with the unconscious mind, you just say, okay, currently I have this and this and these emotions because of this situation, and these kind of feelings in my body or sensations in my body. Collect and bring me the memories which are related to this. And then the unconscious mind is start running, collecting the memories and bring it into your awareness one by one, and then need to be released one by one. So it's like one memory, go into that memory, feel it through, collect the emotions, release it from your existence, from many layers, and then replace it with good energies, basically, and then forgive to yourself, because it's not just about forgiving the other person. Sometimes you need to forgive to yourself, because many times people feel guilty about allowing the situation to happen to them, right? So even if you are a child or whatever age you are, sometimes situations happen to you and you're like, why am I allowed to happen that to me, right? Why I was so stupid, or so you need to forgive to yourself in that memory, and you need to forgive to the other people, sometimes the universe, sometimes people blaming the universe, for all the situation, and then they just like furious and feel like all their life is like unfair, and then who to blame? Universe. So they need to forgive to the universe, and then after this goes through this process, then basically that memory was cleaned, and then we do that with 6-7 memories for one issue, sometimes 2 memories, but sometimes 7 for one situation, one current situation.
See, and I know I feel like everything happens for a reason. You were here for a reason after all of that happened, because like I said, it was something that was prominent when I was coaching in the past and kind of has followed me through. So I'm going to take your advice and try that, because that I feel like, a new way of going about it versus just kind of like, like you said, just kind of like allowing it, may be able to help me fully heal from it.
Absolutely. So my clients, when they come to me with depression or PTSD or grief, and then we go through this process, then, for example, one of them is like, so I used to have 8 weeks programs. And then after I realized that after 4 weeks, they already smiling and happy. I was like, okay, then I can make a 30 days program, right? And then, that's what I did. I created a 30 days incubator. And then that's what we're going through, like the healing process. And basically from depression or really deep sorrow, they go to happiness and empowerment in 4 weeks. So
Wow.
it really is not that long as people assuming. And then this, you were saying that trying this new, it's so, I'm smiling when you say new because it's 60,000 years old, Karma yoga healing technique from Kashmir. It's an Adi Yogi Shiva technique, 60,000 years old. But it was probably hide it from the people, so they still in the illusion, they still playing this game of fight and hate and whatever they play.
I was going to say yes. Like you said, it's an old technique, but I had no idea about it and no awareness. And like I said, I've been doing healing work, and there's so many modalities out there now that it's hard to find the one that's for you or that would work or help in whatever situation it is. But do you feel that it's possible to fully heal emotional trauma?
I mean, this is insane. Like, that's why I made the decision to actually become a healer, because this was such a huge impact and such a powerful healing, which I experienced with this, that basically, I used to be an engineer, a petroleum engineer for 15 years. And then first, when I was dealing with my panic attacks and I was doing this spiritual growth, journey, I was doing it like a sanctuary or a habit, like or a hobby, like in the side.
Yeah.
And then after I was introduced to karma yoga healing and seeing this powerful transformation in myself, that was and I decided that, okay, I need to heal people with this or help people with this. And then I had the blessing to actually have clients who were also spiritual healers themselves, or hypnotherapists or energy healers, and they come to me to learn this as well. So I'm teaching this as a facilitator program. And they said, okay, I tried years of speaking therapy, I tried hypnotherapy, I tried other stuff, and nothing helped me. I was still having all of those nightmares, I was still having all of those experiences, and this was the one which brought them the solution and the healing and the new life.
Wow. What do you I know you work with a lot of different people, from artists and traders to all different walks of life. What's something that they've all had in common underneath the surface?
Most of them had like childhood trauma, basically childhood trauma, and not being accepted, being criticized, judged, feeling abandoned, feeling not accepted. Or they also felt many times like stuck or lost in their situation, like don't know what to do in certain points. Yeah, so these were the most common ones. Yeah.
I would say that sounds pretty accurate. That's a lot of what a lot of people go through, feeling stuck and not knowing what's next, or even like we're speaking right now about what's the right modality for me in this moment to help me not just move on, but actually heal something within me. So you said, a lot of your clients, obviously, they were able to heal some of this emotional release or emotional baggage. What showed up differently for them in their life after?
Oh my God, like some of them went through, grief and divorce, and then they actually attracted an amazing person after that. They got healed, they got married to an amazing person. That was like 2 or 3 of my clients actually what happened to them. And one of my latest client was, she came to me also very depressed, very in a bad situation. She also was very scared because she just got an information from a doctor about some situation in her body. So she finally decided. I knew her for years, but now she was so scared she decided to start working with me. And then after like a month, now she's so empowered, so confident, so happy, so joyous that I was just like minding my business, on social media, and then she's popping up everywhere. She's launching her new podcast. I was like, what's happening to you, girl? And she was like, oh, your sessions were so powerful. Now I feel like alive, and then blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of changes what's happening.
That's beautiful. What do you want people to know about emotional freedom that they may not yet believe is possible?
Yeah, so often they come to me like very skeptical because it's just too good to be true, right? So it's like, oh, I can't even imagine that how my life could be without depression, or how my life could be without my anxiety tablet. So it's like they just don't believe that it's possible because they got so accustomed to their own energy or their own way of being. So it what can I say, it's really possible, and it's really just doing the work, just making sure that you practice the meditations, or you practice the homeworks as well, besides doing the sessions with me at the same time, because it's like a program, as I call it, because just showing up on my sessions could also help, but I also recommend to do a daily meditation with all kinds of meditations I have in the library, because some of them are karmic depth release, some of them are ancestral karma release or ancestral trauma healing. So there are many ways we heal at the back side, while we also do the sessions for the trauma, for their own personal trauma. So it's like a package deal basically. And what happening is like, it's how you can imagine it is like you have like the life, like your reality is like this, what you know and what you see, but behind this is like this big, what you actually need to have access and heal, or go out there, heal those things, and then your little life become much better. And that's what people don't have access to, and that's what people don't know about. That is not enough just to take vitamins or take care of their physical body and physical health. They need to take care of their soul healing as well. Yeah.
I love that. I only have a few more questions before I let you go, but I really want to ask, because we did talk a little bit about feeling stuck and overwhelmed. What's one small shift that our listeners or anyone that's listening that they can make to start healing?
So you probably know about your energy centers, or some listeners know about that. We have energy centers in our body, the chakras. So one of the very important energy center is the third eye, when we're talking about feeling stuck. So the third eye chakra is when your chakras are balanced, then you experiencing a healthy, vibrant life, right? When your chakras are blocked or underbalanced, it means like the life force energy can't flow through you properly. So you might experience physical and mental issues, or your glands not producing properly the hormones, because your gland system is perfectly aligned with your chakra system. So what's happening with the third eye? The third eye chakra is also called a door to the divine or your higher self. So when you are connected to the higher self already see you and your life from a different perspective. It knows everything. It knows the whole story. But when you have an access to it, then you got some hints, some inspiration, some guidance, which way to go. So your stuckness is not, you don't feel stuck anymore, because you getting some hints and guidance, like, oh, I should do that, I'm going that way, or I feel calling to do certain things. So the third eye opening is, that's why it's so important to open your third eye, because when it's actually blocked or underbalanced, what's happening is, that's when you are worrying, that's when you have fear of the future, that's when you feel like you can't see what's coming, or you don't know which way to go, or you just you feel like you are not guided, right? So when you start opening the third eye, how you can open your third eye? So basically what I use is samadhi meditation, and people can also access it on my YouTube channel on Magical Karma Priestess. I have a meditation playlist there, so people can go there and listen to this. So when you practice samadhi meditation, you activate the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is connected with your third eye, basically. So then you're opening up your third eye. So only like after 1 or 2 meditation, you're going to start feeling that the breadcrumbs are coming from the universe. You're going to feel that something is shifting. You're gonna feel that you are more alive. You're gonna have more messaging or callings, and or even people start to appear in your life with support or with learnings or certain shifts happening to you. So it's really powerful to start that, and then you're not gonna feel so stuck.
Thank you for that. I'm definitely going to go check out your YouTube playlist and hopefully encourage everyone that's listening to go check it out as well. I think the world needs a lot more healing, and I'm grateful for all the work that you're doing. I did have a few more questions before you go. What's a myth about healing that you wish people would let go of? If there's one.
Yeah, what's the myth? Yeah, they think that they can heal through journaling. They think that that time heals. Time won't heal. Journaling won't heal. Uh, you won't heal through speaking therapy either. So what they do, these three things, what they do, for example, journaling or speaking therapy, what they do, they bring in the awareness. You have the awareness about how you feel or what kind of emotions you have or what causing that. Maybe some of your PTSD memories flashback coming back. But I even heard about people who, after going to speaking therapy, they got suicidal because before speaking therapy, they were not so connected with their past or with their trauma. They knew something there, but it wasn't so much in their consciousness. And then after speaking about it, or, when you're journaling about it, it's not going to disappear. You're not releasing it. You're just bringing it to awareness. You need to learn how to go deep and heal it. Then it's safe to bring it to awareness, but it's not safe to bring it to awareness if you don't know how to release it.
Hmm. That's good. I've never heard that before. And it is common to hear like journaling's good for you, and that's something that you should be doing if you're.
I
I've heard.
always say that if you want to write, then don't call it journaling, call it scripting and write your future. Write something positive, like what you want to achieve, and write it like it's already done. That's much better than tumbling on the past.
I love that. Okay. I'm gonna try that instead because I'm guilty. I've journaled and thought I'm healing. So now I'm aware of that. Thank you so much for that. Before
So
I let you go ahead.
what you can do, I mean, if you journal, if people still journal, what I suggest at the end of your journal, forgive to yourself and to anybody who's in the journal. Forgive to everyone and everybody who was in the journal, because probably you're writing down who hurt you, who was mean to you, you need to forgive to those people. So, but it's going to happen on a conscious level, because you're doing it consciously, but it's not going to happen on unconscious level, most likely. So it's a different thing.
Thank you for that. And I'm gonna practice that. Would before I let you go, is there anything that you would like listeners to know about you before we go, or like a message for the masses? I really love your energy, and I think that your message and what you're doing for people is truly beneficial. And I think if people really took the time to listen to this episode and just a little bit about what we talked about, I know that they'll feel it too.
So my message would be like, a vacation again won't heal you, a new bag won't heal you. So invest into your healing, not into material things or just a quick fix. And then this gonna have a long, sustainable results in your life, a really good one.
Thank you so much. And before we leave, where can everyone find you if they want to work with you? Do you have a website? If you want to leave all that now, we'll leave it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, I have a website, it's editbkis.com, so they can book a free synergy session with me if they want to work with me. And also I have a school community, skool.com, school.com, and the school community called Release with Ease. So if they want to go on some free events with me, workshops, then it's also possible, or communicate with me there on school, asking questions. That's also possible. We have a really nice community there with my clients, and it's currently free to come to that community. There is also a meditation library there, and a online course, and a couple of workshops.
Perfect. We'll make sure to leave all of that information in the show notes. But once again, thank you, Edith, so much for being here, or Edith, I'm sorry. I appreciate you and your energy, and I'm super thankful for this interview.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right, guys, until next time.
Hey guys, it's Icarus here.
And Amelia.
And I'm here to tell you if you'd like to join our brand new adventure. Go to DevonTaylorAuthor.com to learn more.
And check out the cool items like the new bucket hat.
Yeah, and so much more. See you guys there.
So far.